Hello there everyone and welcome to your next edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner. It's me, Lydia, and you are in my Crafty Corner, so welcome. Today we'll be looking at how to create these 3 cards here. So I'm going to create one panel, but you can use it to create either 1 card or 2. I will show the ones that I've created with 2 at the end of the video. So to start with, I'm going to take a panel which is the same size as my card base, but I'm going to want to remove a small section from this. So you're going to want to remove a section that, well, the end of it even, that is the size of your sentiment. My sentiment is around 1 inch high, so I'm going to be removing 1 inch from the bottom of this panel. But if your sentiment was a little bit higher, remove a little bit more. So however high your sentiment is, remove that much. So you can see that there is 1 inch missing from the bottom of this panel now at the bottom of my card, but it won't be there for much longer. I want my panel, my stepped back sentiment, to be diagonal. So I'm just adding a diagonal line on my card panel with a really light pencil line so I can rub this out later. I'm then going to do some stamping. So I'm using the Vintage Roses stamp set, and I'm using 2 of the images from there. I'm using one of the larger ones and one of the smaller roses. As you can see, I have masks to the side of me that I will be using for this card. So I'm just inking up my base image for this large rose with Frosty pink, and I'm going to add 2 of these roses. I am going to be adding an odd amount because the eye does like having a bit of an odd look about things. It makes things look better. So the second image, second layer I should say, sorry, I am using cotton candy. So this is one from 4 Scoops. So this is one that kind of fits into your other ink collections, so you can stretch them a little bit further. And for the third layer, I will be using Coral Berry. I still have to say that this is one of my favorite pinks of all time, and I keep going back to this one and again and again. It's kind of a different pink than usual, and I do love it ever so much. So these are the masks I have. So I just created these using the dies from the coordinating die set for the flower, but they weren't sticking very well. So all I've done is I've added a little bit of the glue tape from Altenew, one of my favorite glue tapes like ever, because it can be used for removable adhesive, and also as permanent. If you really stick it down, it will be permanent, but if you don't, it is repositionable. So as you can see, I've just added that down as a little bit of a repositionable adhesive. See, I got it right that time. And I'm just going to stamp my other flowers. So this flower in the Vintage Roses set does have 4 layers, but as I want this to be the same color combination as the one with 3 layers, I'm missing out the second layer. So I have just stamped these again with the Frosty pink like I did before. So I added 2 of the large ones and 3 of the small ones to get my odd look. For the second layer, again, I'm using the cotton candy as I did for the others. These do have a layering guide. If you go onto our website, go into inspiration and click on the layering guides, you can get layering guides for most of our stamp sets, and this is one of them that we do have the layering guide for on our website if you are after it. And for the third layer, I'm going to be using Coral Berry like I did before. And I just love how you, just by missing out one of the layers for the roses, you can create them to look really, really light and airy. So I'm going to add masks to these, but I'm going to add these masks under the other ones. Sometimes if you've overstamped a little bit of a mask over and over again, you do get residue underneath because the ink sinks through the mask. So if you add this mask underneath the bit that's already got the ink on, I hope I'm making sense, it will stop that happening. So I'm just creating like another barrier for the ink that was already on the mask that I did with the other one. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, but I think it works very well this way. And then I'm going to add my leaves in. So I'm using the frayed leaf for the base of the leaves. These leaves, I should say, are actually from Vintage Flowers. I love that they're like in packs of 3. They're in a group already, so it's easier for you to just stamp them and, you know, stamp and go. So I'm going to add another odd number of these in. So I'm popping these down, and I've added 3 of the tropical one and 4 of the ones that go with the roses, I think. So I'm just going to add the base layer in frayed leaf and the second layer in Forest Glades. There is a third layer for these leaves, which you can stamp up, but I wanted my leaves to not to be the star of the show, really. I wanted these to fade into the background a little bit, so I have only used 2 of the layers, but if you wanted to, you can go for the 3. It's up to you, it's your world, stamp it however you want it to be. So I'm just going to add in the second layer for the tropically leaf, and then I will be able to remove my masks. I'm still in awe every time you remove the masks off these images, and then you get to see the full beauty, which is the vintage roses and the vintage flowers. So these are one of the first ever sets that I got from Altenew, and I still love them. They are still so pretty and so current, and I don't think they're ever going to go out of style. So I've just removed the line, the pencil line that we created before with a rubber and a razor, and I'm now going to cut along that line with my guillotine. I maybe should have cut the line first and then rubbed it out. That might have been easier for me, but you know, it's me, so I just had to make it a little bit harder for myself. So now you can see that we've got the inch in the middle of our panel. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that repositionable adhesive down onto my panels. So I'm not gluing these down properly because I want to be able to pop these up. But if I'd have popped these up first and then stamped my sentiments, I may have made a little bit of a mess. So I find it easier just to pop these in place, and then I can stamp my sentiment and then pop them up later. So I've made sure my sentiment is going to stick where I want it to. I have used one of the sentiments from Build-A-Flower Carnation, and I'm going to use some permanent black just to stamp this into place. So I've inked it up, and now I'm going to pop it into that little gap that we've left when we cut the panel in half. Well, not in half, but in nearly a quarter, maybe. So I'm going to press this down really firmly so I've got a really good impression. And how pretty is that? So I'm going to remove these pieces now because that glue wasn't, I didn't add enough on it to be strong, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to add in some foam tape so I can pop this up onto my card base. I'm just adding a little bit of vellum behind me, just in case my table was a little bit dirty. So I do find that adding a little bit of scratch paper underneath yourself when you're adding foam tape really helps, because there's been a couple of times where I've done this before. I've popped my lovely stamped panel down, upside down, popped my foam tape on, turned it over, and there's an ink smudge on it. Lots of times. So that's why I just decide to add a little bit of scratch paper behind my panel before I pop it down onto my work surface, because I'm a messy crafter. I really am. So I've popped the foam tape onto this, and I'm going to pop it into place again. And I just love how pretty that looks. So you could, if you wanted to, use these panels for 2 different cards, but I've chose to use it for 1. So this is the card that we've just created with the stepped back sentiment. But like I just said, you can use the panels for 2 different cards if you wanted to. So here I have just stamped 1 panel as I did before, but then I've chopped it in half, and then I've used it for 2 different cards. And I think this is very pretty again. So I really hope that you've enjoyed the video and that you do try this technique out. It is a really pretty technique, and these flowers really are a must to use. I really love them so much. They are so very pretty. So again, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope you've enjoyed. If you did enjoy, we would love it if you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any videos that we do upload. And here are a couple more videos if you do want to watch some more. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye!